from the city of San Diego Water Department that they're putting into. What will he do with those?
So the investigation of the groundwater resources in San Diego includes 3 types of wells. One, like this monitoring well that we have here, is to identify the water levels and the water quality and the geology of the groundwater basin. The next type is a pilot production well. It's sort of like a baby production well that you can identify the quantity of water that's flowing through the ground. And then the third one would be a full-scale production well if those other 2 suggest that that's warranted.
And we're not there yet, because we're just only installing the pilot production wells, right?
Right, so we're doing the first 2 of those.
What is the hope? What do you guys hope, or is there a guesstimation, a theory on how much water is down there?
Well, groundwater has been extracted for more than 50 years and is distributed presently to National City and Chula Vista. So the hope would be that that could be augmented with additional production wells. Possibly some of that is available for direct delivery because it's got a low salinity. Perhaps some of it needs to go through a reverse osmosis facility, which is also presently being done along the coast of San Diego.
Now this water, it's obviously it's mixed with sediment and whatever's down there. Is it salt water also?
Well, we're right on the edge of the continent, and we've been on the edge of the continent for 60-some million years. So in that sense, we've always been near saline water. So it's not surprising that most of our groundwater here is salty. That comes with the territory. A little bit of it is fresh. Most of it is actually a little bit salty and would require reverse osmosis in order to be potable drinking water.
See, reverse osmosis, is that basically treating it?
Treating it to remove enough salts so that people will be willing to drink it.
And how can you just sort of describe why this process, what your research is doing, why is it so important to San Diego?
Well, San Diego is an area of little rain. That's why we have beautiful days like this. That's the good news. The bad news is that we don't have enough rain to fill the rivers. They tend to flow very quickly and the water disappears to the ocean. And similarly, there's not a lot of water that's flowing through the groundwater system. We have imported most of our water, 90-some% of it, from the Colorado River and the northern San Francisco Bay Area. Both of those are climatologically and environmentally, politically at risk. So what we're trying to do is develop local water supplies, in this case groundwater supplies, to be a safeguard in case we don't have as much water flowing in from our imported pipelines.
Let's do the Van and White portion of our show. Can you show me the map of where your current wells are?
Okay, so this is a map of San Diego. Here's San Diego, Mexico, San Diego area. All the red dots are the multiple depth wells, 1,500 feet more or less, that we've put in to help define the groundwater system in this part of the world. Now we're actually putting in a well that is fairly far east, closer to the area of the recharge water that flows through the hard rock and into the softer sands and gravels that we believe will be the source of groundwater recharge or groundwater extraction in the future.
How long does the water take to go from the mountains to San Diego?
We've been able to use carbon dating the same way that you would with wood, and we found that the groundwater that's being extracted is somewhere between 6,000 and 20 or 30,000 years since it was last in the atmosphere. So water is flowing very slowly. There's not a lot of water. That's why we have nice, beautiful days. But we're at the end of the pipeline, so we're now looking at options that maybe didn't make sense to look at 20 years ago.
And why does it make sense now to look at it?
The price of water is risen because every new source with all the treatment and the pipelines is expensive, and we're under some risk of having curtailments of water, either purposeful because of drought or less expected perhaps because of earthquakes.
Now, when would this best be optimally used if San Diego decides we're going to start using this? When would it be optimal to tap into this resource?
That's sort of outside the scope of where I would understand things, but the County Water Authority has provided some of the funding for this. This well in particular is provided by the City of San Diego, and how they plan to use the resources, I'm not sure.
Gotcha. All right, so you've got some 3D images here that are brand new. What do these images here tell you about our world here?
I'm really excited to show this. We've just printed this off. We haven't seen it much before, but this is our version of how to correlate the various information that we have. This again is the San Diego area. We've got lots of data points. Now we're looking at the San Diego area. This is San Diego Bay here.
That casts a big shadow. Right.
So this is San Diego area, the coastal area. We want to extract water. This is San Diego Bay. So we're developing a computer model of this area that helps us strip off the land and see each of the geologic layers. This one here, shown in blue, is the San Diego Formation. And again, it's a computerized model, so it can be rotated. We can look at it in different ways. We can draw sections so that we can look at it sort of like a layer of a cake. And we can strip a cut of a cake layer and see the different layers. This blue one, again, is the San Diego Formation, which is the area, the formation, where they're most interested in extracting water, and indeed where water is presently being extracted and used for domestic use.
So, how close are you? How close are you to finally saying, yes, this is a good source?
We're getting our act together. It's taken about 10 years, but slow but sure, things are making sense. One of the things that we're most interested in is that over here we have cores that we were able to obtain from the bottom of the hole. So this is the hard rock that forms the edge of the continent. And we're able to identify the fractures that are present, and the minerals on each of these fractures shows that water has moved through the fractures of the San Diego Peak volcanics. We're hopeful that additional water is moving through here. We'll sample it eventually with the well being installed and be able to tell what the water quality is. That will help identify the quality and abundance of water that can later be extracted from the sands and gravels near the coast.
Wow.
You got a lot.
Yeah, I got a lot.
Which parts do you want really succinct? Yeah, let's keep going.
Go ahead.
So the important point of the important part of this well is that we were actually able to get down into the hard rock. None of the other wells, with the exception of one near the Qualcomm Stadium, were we able to identify this important part of the geologic story. So this allows us to get the bottom of the world defined, which is critical. The critical part of what we're doing is defining how the geologic layers are arranged, and that allows us to help understand how water moves through them.
Nice. Just looking at the San Diego Formation, which is the aquifer, correct? Roughly how many, can you guys guesstimate how many miles wide it is? Is there, I mean, does it cover all of San Diego? Is it underneath all of San Diego, or just parts?
The San Diego Formation extends from La Jolla. It's shown here. Extends from roughly.
Hold on. Do that again.
The San Diego Formation is shown here in blue because it's got water. We hope that it has enough potable water to be useful. So the San Diego Formation is shown in blue. It extends from the La Jolla area south of the border, from roughly 805 freeway off the coast under the ocean, and has a predominance of the water that could be extracted for municipal use.
It's big.
Millions.
It's like a treasure.
Billions. There could be trillions. The reality is that it's almost all salty, and will almost all need to be treated.
You know, one last question, and I don't know if you can even answer this one. Darn it. Is this obviously it could be reliable, but would it be cost effective? Is this cheaper than like desalinating ocean water or piping it in from, you said, the political environmental mess up that is?
So we rolling?
Yeah.
This water, to be able to extract moderately saline water, this is roughly this, has the salts of V8 juice, so it's got some salts, not near as salty as the ocean. But the Sweetwater Authority presently, as we speak, is extracting saline water, running it through a reverse osmosis system to remove some of those salts and distributing it to residents of Chula Vista and National City. So it already is cost effective. We're a little bit behind the curve in that we didn't have a lot of groundwater, so we didn't do the homework in the 1920s and 30s that areas with a lot more groundwater did.
Outstanding. Always a superstar. I'm gonna get my close-ups. Let me unplug you there.